Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of two amazing women. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full names, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, my name is Alessa Martin. I am the co-author of Trying, and my background is a brand strategist and storyteller, and most recently as a marketing executive in the luxury and fine jewelry space.
And I'm Liz Swenson. I'm an author and an illustrator. I live in beautiful Southern California, right next to the beach. And today we wanted to share the story behind our story. We wrote a book together called Trying, Alessa and I, a loving guide to navigating the emotions of infertility and loss. And we're going to tell you about the creation of that book.
So our story started when Liz came over to meet my son, Bolt. I think he was about 6 months old at the time because we were feeding him oatmeal, and he and I were doing a terrible job. He had oatmeal absolutely everywhere.
She was doing fine.
Liz had a little more experience than I did at the time from being a mom to 3 kiddos and also as an author to 2 parenting guides.
So we were talking about ideas for my next book, and Alessa had a suggestion. She said, "What about a prequel?" And I was confused, and I said, "Do you mean like a pregnancy book?"
And I said, no, I meant a book on infertility. And so it was at that time, through that opening in the conversation, that I began to tell my dear friend Liz the story, the 6-year-long journey that my husband and I had gone through to have Bolt. Countless fertility treatments, a pause due to a global pandemic, setback after setback, and loss.
I'm embarrassed to say that I was not surprised. For years, I had wondered and worried that Alessa might be struggling with infertility, but she didn't say anything, and so neither did I. The realization that I didn't reach out, ask simple questions, filled me with guilt and shame for my amazing friend Alessa. I felt awful, not just as a friend, but as someone who had built a career around supporting parents. For all my expertise, I hadn't known how to be there for her. We knew immediately that this book needed to exist, not a clinical how to get pregnant guide, but something that actually holds your hand through the emotional reality of family building, something with illustrations, beauty, real stories, and practical advice. Less like a medical pamphlet and more like a good hug from a friend that gets it.
So the week that we signed the contract to write Trying, I found out that I was pregnant. After everything that my husband and I had been through with our son, our daughter came into our lives quite miraculously without any interventions. Just a beautiful, beautiful surprise. I was over the moon, we were over the moon, that we were finally going to have the 2 children that we'd always dreamed of and that we'd spent a very long time working towards. And also for Liz and for myself, that this book that we were so excited about would have this amazing, happy, hopeful close. But it turns out that's not what happened. Midway through the writing of our book, my daughter Navy passed away at 24 weeks. Sorry, it's already happening. I stepped back from the book. On the hardest days, I couldn't find the strength to write. On the good days, I couldn't put myself back into the painful situation that I'd had a momentary reprieve from. And truthfully, I didn't know what to say. I didn't have any words for what I was experiencing. I was just learning to sit in my grief myself, and I had no idea how to be honest with our future readers, because frankly, it just felt so awful. How were we going to write a book where we said sometimes really bad things happen and you have to learn how to live through it? But that's the truth, isn't it? At the time, I didn't know how to write that, but my wonderful friend Liz helped me learn how to live it.
When Alessa lost Navy, I didn't know what to say either. But as part of creating our book, I'd been conducting interviews, and I'd been spending months sitting with women and families who had been exactly where she was. Before we started writing, I'd connected with an advocacy group that raises awareness about stillbirth. As I began interviewing those women, it was very hard. I would run up to my garden after each one and just cry. The pain the women described, the grief, and the reorganization of their entire lives. A beautiful woman that I spoke with, she had rotted all her teeth because all she could eat was candy for months after. And I couldn't imagine how my friend Alessa was going to find the strength to write again. And I offered more than once to finish it for her. But those interviews actually gave me something I didn't expect. Interview after interview, the women were clear. Just show up, then keep showing up. Say her daughter's name, ask about her daughter. And while I didn't feel prepared to support my friend through the hardest and most impossible thing she's ever been through, I felt like I did understand the mechanics. And I began showing up. I drove to LA for long hugs. We ate turkey Havarti sandwiches at our favorite cafe. I called, I texted. We cried a lot. We laughed a lot too. I felt really afraid that I was going to make it worse. And I asked, and I listened, and I let her take the lead. But I stayed by her side. It was her grief, but we were on this journey together.
I love you.
I love you.
Here's what we know now. Most people don't respond the way that my wonderful friend Liz did for me. And it's not because they don't care. Every person listening, watching right now has experienced some form of suffering, but we're remarkably unprepared how to witness it and how to support it in others. Our instincts, even though they come from a really loving place, often miss the mark. We want to fix it. We want to try and focus on something positive. We want to try to connect with the person who's sharing with us by telling a similar story. But without realizing it, we often push the people who are experiencing that grief further into their own isolation, further into their own silence. Here's what that looks like. We've all done it. It's come out of all of our mouths. You've probably experienced this or been this yourself. But there's the classic avoider. So they heard you, but they just managed to change the subject. So I remember when I first came back to work after my daughter passed, I was in a group of people, and someone asked the very benign, open-ended, "How are you doing?" And as I worked up the courage to give a response, someone else jumped in and said, "Who saw that Dodgers game last night?" Expert tip, don't do that.
There's the minimizer. Oh, you had a miscarriage. Well, these things happen. There's the comparer. I know exactly how you feel. My dog just passed away. The fixer, have you tried whatever? And then a dumper that will, and these ones are very difficult. When they see that pain, it gives them an open door to share all the awful things that they've experienced in their life, and not necessarily something a person that's going through grief can carry at that moment. So none of these people have bad intentions. They just weren't given better tools. So human beings are deeply uncomfortable with emotional pain. All of these responses are ways to escape that discomfort. The problem is your friend can't escape it. So to truly show up, you need to sit in it with them. And yes, it hurts.
So here's the other thing that we've learned. Support doesn't require a solution. It's okay not to have any words. The only thing that support requires is your true presence. And there's 4 ways to give someone who's going through grief true presence. First, you say, "I'm here with you." Your phone's away. You're not fixing anything. You're just creating a connection in space. The second is, "I see you." Acknowledge how hard it might be to share something like this.
Thank you for sharing with me, recognizing how difficult it might be to have this conversation. This reframes that vulnerability as a gift rather than a burden, and it reinforces trust. And then something I did constantly, "Can you tell me if I missed the mark? Do you need something different from me today?" And this is the bravest one. It gives the person suffering permission to redirect the conversation without guilt, without having to manage your feelings on top of their own.
At some point, we will all be, either myself or Liz, one of 2 people, the one carrying something heavy,
or the one standing beside them trying to help. Our hope is that these words help you to show up better for yourself, for the people you love, not because you have the answers, but because you're learning how to be there.
Wow, ladies, what an incredible story. Out of adversity, good things can happen. It's incredible what the 2 of you have done with such a sad story, but you've transmuted the pain, the sadness into something really positive and empowering for people who don't know how to deal with loss. Why do you believe we are so uncomfortable with grief as a society?
That's a really great question. I mean, I know that a lot of my hesitation with even initially reaching out with Alessa was afraid to bring it up. I thought if I bring up a hard thing that she's going through, that it would somehow make it harder. And what I've realized through this process is actually the opposite, is the truth. And the more that you bring it up, the more that you talk about it, the more that this becomes normalized. I mean, that's a big part of what we wanted our book to be, is normalize, destigmatize, and what was the other one?
Legitimize.
Legitimize all the emotions.
Yeah.
But that's
so whatever you're feeling is valid.
And we want to open this conversation up. That's what we want to do. We want to sing this, spread the book everywhere, because we want this conversation to be started and to be open, and really to take down that awkwardness, that veil. There is this like weird cultural, traditional, don't tell anyone that you are pregnant until it's 11 weeks, because what if you lose the baby and I have to deal with your grief, versus I should be there to be with you in that grief. So there's a lot of that culturally. Alessa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it comes from a good place, I think, that we're trying to be overly kind, but we're so busy being overly kind that we're overly negligent or overly hurtful. And so, the reality is someone who is experiencing grief really of any kind, they're probably thinking about it anyways. You asking them about it is not going to be some sort of revelation to them. Oh,
Right.
I was going through something hard, but I had completely forgotten, right? So I think that, we have a tendency to walk on eggshells, and that doesn't do a service to anybody. And so again, I think that's what the honesty, true honesty is so important between. I think it's easiest accomplished amongst dear friends and loved ones, right? But I think it's also something that we owe everyone that we come into contact with, right?
It's so true. Now, you say that support doesn't require solutions. Can you unpack that for us?
So I think that that's often, my husband and I have this ongoing argument, right? I say, in a small microcosm, I say, I'm having a tough day, and because the washing machine isn't working and the blah, 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 blah. And he says, well, have you called the repairman? Have you, he's immediately trying to fix it. And I think that that's always our inclination, is that we see a loved one suffering and we want to make it better for them. But a lot of the biggest things in life, they're, the loss of my daughter, the loss of a loved one, uncertainty, a medical diagnosis, there aren't immediate fixes. And so we're better off not trying to give a fix that is a very small Band-Aid for something that's very challenging. And instead, I see you, I'm here with you. Tell me how I can support you.
Yeah, just being present. I think this is the biggest lesson I'm hearing from both of you.
Yeah.
Being fully present and just tuning into what the other person needs, without trying to fix anything or put a Band-Aid on it, right?
Yeah, and I think that, thanks to our phones and technology, we also don't do a very good job at being present, period, maybe even present for our own emotions, let alone to kind of, be able to sit and have some of these really hard conversations, right? Do we ever just get past the kind of surface level, how are you, what are you up to really like, what's going on in your life, Gertrude? Is there anything, that's going on that you could use my support with, right?
Now,
so what does true presence actually look like in a difficult conversation?
It's a big bunch of roller coasters. We cried so much together. I think the first time I was with Alessa after she lost Navy, we were laughing about whether or not she had brushed her teeth. She wasn't sure. And so we were and then she'd cry and I'd just hug her and I'd cry and we would just cry. And then one of us would say something stupid and laugh and, I'd let her share her story, how it all happened. Stillbirth is a very physical process, and her body went through something, and that's a birth like every other birth, and that's a thing to share and talk about, and just letting her talk, letting her share what happened, saying you don't have to say it if it makes you uncomfortable, but if you want to say it, I'm here, I'll listen, we'll cry together. So it was what happened between Alessa and I that was not there in our relationship before this book, is we just got to a place where we were very comfortable saying, tell me what you need, or stop, I don't like that, I can't do that right now, or yeah, I want to tell you some ugly stuff right now. And I was like, okay, I'll sit here and there's no judgment. So it was the cracking open of just that really honest conversation, and both of us understanding that there was no offense to be had. We couldn't hurt each other's feelings because we just wanted what's best for each other.
So how can people find the right words when they feel afraid of saying the wrong thing? I think that's where what stops a lot of people. How to find the right thing to say.
I sent a lot of texts where I didn't say anything except, I love you, I'm thinking about you. And that was kind of my open. I never asked, how are you? Because I knew it wasn't good. So it was a lot of, I love you. I love you. I love you.
That is so simple, but so clear. You're just making the other person aware you're thinking of them.
I think the other one I remember, Liz, I don't know if you, was just, I'm sorry, really honoring what my heart was feeling. And I think that it serves in so many different situations. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing this. And it puts you on an understanding footing without, well, let me tell you my story of the time that my heart hurt.
Yeah, and the other thing I love.
Sorry, go ahead.
Say that again, Liz.
Oh, I was really careful about that. I mean, we were writing this book. I've been a horrible friend to many, many, many other friends where I said the absolute wrong thing. Like, I have a particular moment with a friend who had a C-section where I was dismissive about it. And I'm like, oh God. So I've done it wrong. And I just happened to be writing this book and just happened to have done these interviews where I was like, really like, I'm not going to mess this up.
Wow. Now, the other thing that I love about this story is the naming of the child that you lost.
Huge.
You've repeated several times Navy's name, and I think that is so beautiful because for the mother who's lost that baby, that was her baby. The baby had a name. She carried that baby to whatever weeks. You develop an attachment as a woman. You have this human being growing inside you, and then you lose them preterm or whatever the situation is. It's still a baby to that woman. And naming that child, I think, is so beautiful to remember it was somebody's baby that was lost.
Well, and I had just done all of these interviews, and that was something that they were all very, very emphatic about, was so important to say their name and to have, so it's a unique experience losing a child this way because no one else really got to know that child. So what the women that I interviewed were saying was like, the more that you make that child also a part of your life. And we talk about Navy a lot. We were prepping for this conversation, and Navy comes to us as a hummingbird, and Navy just kept coming up. And so making her a part of my life too, I think is something that is part of me being Alessa's grief partner. Is Navy is very much a part of my life as well.
So what role does vulnerability play in building deeper human connection?
The only role. It is so hard, and yet it's the only way. It's the only way to have true connection. Liz has to be willing to get it wrong, and I have to be vulnerable enough to say the things that are really going on, but also vulnerable enough that to understand someone else's intentions. I know that Liz loves me. I know that she wants the best for me, and I know she's trying really hard. And so if she does miss the mark, that's okay
I
too,
know.
because she's trying.
We're all trying.
Yeah.
We're all trying.
So, what are some of the practical ways that we can support a loved one who's experiencing infertility or loss?
I'll let you go.
I would
Buy our book.
number one. No, I think it is, CDC current statistics. 1 in 4 women of 1 in 4 married women has experienced some form of loss or some form of infertility. So it is a very, very large group that we are talking about, and yet we don't have great words for it. So I think starting with "I'm sorry," starting with "I love you. I know this is hard. Is there anything that I can do to support you?" Or to just lean into that support, lean in with more check-ins, lean in with, "Can we grab a coffee?" Lean in, "Can I distract you on Thursday at 6 p.m.? We're going to the movies."
But not a rom-com.
But not. I requested no rom-coms. Ask the person what their preference is. I requested no rom-coms. So I think that it's. But I think it's also opening up a soft landing for that person who is experiencing infertility, because they're often not saying anything. They're not having a conversation. There's already a tremendous amount of pressure, financial, logistics, and so they maybe aren't saying anything. So I think it's asking a few more questions and offering how we can show up for them.
So, how can partners, friends, and family members become better allies during grief?
Alessa, would you like to?
Well, Liz is better at it than I
am. There's a lot of things, especially, this is a particular grief experience that we've written about, and really caring or creating rituals where your child is remembered, so that it's not a thing that only the mother has to carry. So being a part of rituals to honor her, saying their name. And then, there was another one that I was thinking, but it flitted from my brain.
Anniversaries. I think.
Yes, that's the one.
Anniversaries is a huge part that I received a lot of support in the immediate weeks following Navy's death. But when I see those milestones come up, what would have been her first birthday? What is the 1-year anniversary of her loss? What is the day that my husband and I found out that we were pregnant with her, right? Knowing some of those days that are going to be hard for your loved one, and being able to show up and knowing that I'm not the only one thinking about her, that means a tremendous amount. And that goes for any sort of grief, right? It's like, what are the ways that we continue to check in? Because as time passes, the grief changes, but it doesn't go away.
Now, the book. Let's talk a little bit about the book and dive a little bit deeper. What impact do you hope your book will have on the world? And what can people expect from the book? How have you written it?
It is a very different type of book. So all of my books are illustrated, and but adult books. So there's a lot of watercolor, a lot of pen sketches, a lot of emotion in the illustrations. So there really isn't, it's not a hard book to get through. It's a very quick book. And we've designed it to not choose your own adventure, but pick up where you need to pick up, put it down when you don't need to have this part of it. We really wanted to convey that you're not alone, and we really wanted to destigmatize, normalize, legitimize. And we really wanted whoever is reading our book to know how much we carry them in our hearts and we love them and they're supported. That was what this book gives.
Yeah, and I think that there are a fair amount of books in the infertility and loss space, but a lot of them lean more to the medical, clinical, how to get pregnant, the logistical side of adoption or surrogacy, the supplements, the fertility protocols, and we don't approach any of that. We are not doctors.
There's
and
none of that.
No expertise.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. We were, and I'm going to keep going. When we were researching this book, I went to the bookstore and I looked at these books and they were insane. Like, there's just so much information. Like, here's how you fix it. Here's how you fix it. And we do none of that. Like, we even have pages where it's just full spread watercolor, take a breath. Like, it's not, there's no like intense information. There's no like rules you have to follow. This is just, here are things that lighten the load for Alessa we've also researched a ton. And this is like something that helps with grief in general. This is a thing that helps with communication in general. But it's a very uplifting and light book.
I love that. Now, if there was one message you want every listener to walk away with, what would that be?
Liz and I always, can I do two? Can I do two, Gatrid?
I want two now.
Oh, I have two and then Liz has two.
I only have one.
So the first thing that we want people to walk away from with the book is to know that they are not alone, to feel a community and a support system around them for what they are going through. And then I think the second, Liz, I'll let you take the second.
You can have two and then I'll do one.
No, go ahead. I've lost
Okay. My thing was, I wasn't the friend I wanted to be for Alessa for 6 years. And I was able to become the friend that Alessa needed. And it's not because I'm special. It's because I was willing. And each person listening can be that support for their friend, for whoever it is that's going through. It's not that I'm special. It's that I was willing to be present and show up. And that in itself is a great act of love.
And I think we also have to remember, Liz, that you did what you did with the information you had at that time. So don't beat yourself up. We all, we react to things with the knowledge that we have at that time.
Yeah.
And now you know better. You've experienced something.
You do better. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things we all need to remember as human beings. We dealt with what we did. That's the knowledge you had at that time.
Right.
And that's the reason why you've written this book, so people can look at things differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we share these stories. Now, I want to teleport the two of you into the future this time.
Ooh.
And we're going to go and sit with the 90-year-old yous. And maybe you're sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, whoever's going to be with you at that point. If I could teleport you both into the future to meet these wise women who have led you up until that point, who wrote a book that changed the lives of millions of women who go through grief, what would you say to your wise selves when you finally meet her?
Can make me cry.
I've got one too.
I think I would tell my younger self, you have no idea how much you can carry. So and your strength will carry you very, very far.
Beautiful.
Mine was, I'm so proud of you.
I love it. You know, a lot of women don't realize the white woman is already in us, right? My grandmother used to say, all of the challenges you'll have in life, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you a teacher. So you went through what you went through, and you've transmuted that pain into something so positive, so empowering. And the wise woman is here. She's in you already. She's the one who prompted you to come together and write this amazing book. It's a book that's going to change so many lives. And your pain, the experience you went through, your little Navy is the result of this. Her energy, her spirit is healing so many women. So thank you for having the courage to step into this space. And what I love about my job, ladies, is this is the reason why I do what I do. I know the power of storytelling as an agent to heal, an agent to share information, to teach. And thank you for responding to my query and being on the show.
We're honored. We're honored.
Really.
So I've got your website at the bottom of the screen. We're still all crying, but this is good. We do
this all the time. We just cry and then we laugh and we cry.
But our vulnerability is our biggest strength as women, right? And we should never forget that.
Absolutely.
When we cry, we give other permission to do the same thing. And crying is a strength. It purges the emotions that you're going through. And sometimes you just have to sit with the sadness and let it have its way with us.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you again for this incredible work, for the book that you gifted to the world. And yeah, I can't wait for you to catch up with that older woman and thank her someday for the wisdom that she gave you to do the work. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that curates the stories of women from all over the world. We share these stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a woman who's experiencing infertility, you've had miscarriages, you've had loss, here is a book that can help you navigate this space. Or if you know someone who's going through this right now, please tag them on this video, share this video on your social media so that it can reach more women as well. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest or guests. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And ladies, thank you again for the interview.
Thank you.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making personal.